on filing process of Form GSTR1, that is return for outward. In this video, you will see the detailed analysis of GSTR1 along with filing process for GSTR1 on GST portal. So enjoy the video, friends, and don't forget to like and share our videos and also subscribe our channel. Thank you, friends. Next, friends, we'll move on to your the most crucial return, GSTR1, detail of outward supply of goods or services. Remember, friends, most of the returns are your GSTR1. If you'll ask me, the composition is around 85% of the return of the entire taxpayer registered in India are regular taxpayers. So they will file GSTR1. So GSTR1 can be filed monthly or even quarterly. So we'll see what is the legal formality around it. So once you go log into GSTN portal through your login ID and password, it is a regular taxpayer login. So you will see this, return dashboard will be there. So in the return dashboard, you can select your financial year and return filing period. So what does GSTR1 contain? So GSTR1 has various tables, right? It has your 13 tables. So table 1, 2, 3 is your name, GST number, trade name and all, which is auto populated and filled in. We don't have to fill that table 1, 2, 3. Table 4 is your taxable outward supply to registered taxpayers, means B2B taxable outward supply. Then we have B2CL, that is taxable supplies to unregistered customers whose single invoice value is more than 2.5 lakh rupees and the recipient is located outside the state of my registration. We'll see what is B2C and B2B. Next is your zero rated or deemed export. Then taxable supply to unregistered means B2CS. Then nil rated, exempted and non-GST outward supplies. Then comes your 9 and 10 amendment. So amendment table, so whatever transactions I have reported in the previous period can be amended in the subsequent returns. Then 11 is your details of advances, advance received and GST paid on that, and advance adjusted. Table 12, HSN summary of outward supply, and table 13 is your document issued during the tax period. So what we are going to do, friends, is we'll review each and every table in detail so that by end of this class, you will have a fair idea on filing of GSTR1. So now you see, friends, what are the basic details to be reported in GSTR1. So invoice level reporting is to be required for B2B and B2C. Number A is first is your B2B, registered person. All inter and intra-state supply is to be made at invoice level. Then unregistered person supply is more than 2.5 lakh rupees and it is a interstate supply. Interstate supply means supply recipient is outside my state. So invoice wise detail is to be required. Then consolidated detail is required in case I am supplying to unregistered recipient within the same state. And second is unregistered recipient within the outside the state but the single invoice value is less than 2.5 lakh rupees. Then detail of credit note and debit note. So credit note, debit note for registered, credit note, debit note for unregistered. Then we have zero rated and deemed export. Zero rated, you can refer to IGST Act, right? Zero rated supply means export and supply to SEZ. Then on advance we'll have received, I'll pay GST on receipt of services. Advance received on supply of services, GST is payable. Advance received on supply of goods, GST is not payable. Then adjustment of advances, I'll pay, I'll adjust the same in the return. Nil rated, exempted and non-GST on which GST is not payable but still the reporting is required. HSN summary of goods or services supplied during the period, and then list of document issued. So we'll see, friends. Now what are the rules and what is B2B? B2B means business to business. It means both the parties are registered. So if I am filing my GSTR1, naturally I am registered under GST. The recipient of my service is also registered under GST. it means both the parties are registered under GST. So the reporting will be even a single rupee invoice on which GST is charged is to be reported invoice wise. So for B2B, the reporting is invoice wise. Why the reporting is invoice wise? Because the recipient will take input tax credit. If it is eligible, the recipient will take input tax credit. Hence, for B2B transactions, everything is to be reported invoice wise. Next, B2C. Interstate. What is interstate transaction? So if the recipient is located outside my state, it is called as interstate transaction. Even if SEZ is located within the state, it will come as B2B because SEZ will always be a registered taxpayer. So if the recipient is outside the state, it is interstate. If the recipient and supplier are in the same state, it is intra-state, right? So for invoices below 2.5 lakh rupees, it is consolidated reporting is required, like state-wise, rate-wise. We will come to detail. For invoices, single invoice more than 2.5 lakh rupees. So it is taxable value, not the GST amount. It is to be reported invoice-wise. And if the recipient is within the same state and whatever be the invoice value, everything is to be consolidated and reported, right? Now you see friends, when we'll click on table 4 in GSTR 1, it will look something like this. So see here, invoice wise reporting is required for table 4, B2B invoices. So you see here, the reporting is invoice number, GST number of the customer or recipient, invoice date, invoice value, and supply type. Supply type means your interstate or intrastate. Based on GST number, the system will automatically select invoice your supply type as inter or intra-state. See here, if I am a supplier and I am supplying under RCM, right? So I am registered under GTA service provider. So I may not collect GST from the customer, but I will still file my GSTR 1. So I have to click this supply attract reverse charge tab. So once I click this reverse charge tab, the recipient will pay tax under reverse charge. See here, then after I provide my invoice wise detail, I'll have to provide taxable value against rate of tax. So if I am a service provider, I'll provide 80 taxable value against 18% GST. So table 4 is for B2B taxable supplies. In this table 4, the reporting will be invoice wise. Now table 5 friends, again invoice wise reporting also, but again here the recipient is not registered under GST, but the recipient is located outside my state. So the system will ask me place of supply. System will ask me place of supply. So for table 5, I'll have to report invoice wise in case the recipient is located outside the state and single invoice value or each invoice is more than 2.5 lakh rupees. See here friends, interstate invoice more than 2.5 lakh rupees, it is taxable value, not the invoice amount, and it will be reported invoice wise. Only thing missing here will be your GST number. So your place of supply, I have to select from the drop down the state list, invoice number, invoice date, based it will always be interstate, it will never be intrastate, and against the rate of GST I'll place my taxable value. Next friends, your 6A, that is export. So if I am making any export, right, so for making any export, the table is table 6A. It is important to note friends here, it is important to note here that in this table correct reporting is required for claiming of refund. So for any discrepancy in this table, your refund will get stuck. So in case of export, we all know that you might have attended your previous class also on your refund and all. So I'll not get into detail of those refunds. So before we fill table 6A, the system is giving me advisory. What is advisory? They are saying number A, invoice data for export is provided in 6A of GSTR 1. This invoice detail should match with invoice detail providing in my bill of entry or shipping bill. Sorry, it is shipping bill. So table is to be correctly reported for claim of refund. So invoice detail should match with invoice detail provided in your shipping bill, and mandatory requirement to quote shipping bill number, shipping bill date and port code. If you don't have these details, shipping bill number, shipping bill date and port code, while filing GSTR 1, in the next month you can file amendment and provide this detail. So this detail is not mandatory for filing of your table 6A export detail, shipping bill number, shipping bill date and port code. So these three details you can come back and in the subsequent return you can fill this table. Right friends? So next if we'll see your export details. It is similar to your B2B table 4. Only change is your GST number is not here because the recipient is outside India and the recipient is not registered under GST. So see invoice number, invoice date, port code, shipping bill number, shipping bill date. The red asterisk is not there. Red asterisk means mandatory field. So invoice number, invoice date and invoice value is a mandatory field. So export can be done with payment of tax or without payment of tax. So let us understand what is with payment and without payment. So if I go into GSTN portal and apply for LUT, means letter of undertaking, it means that I can make an export without payment of GST, and then I am eligible to claim refund on input tax credit. I also have an option of not obtaining LUT, or even after obtaining LUT, I can make export with payment of tax. With payment of tax does not mean that I'll collect from my customer. I'll pay from the pocket while filing GSTR 3B, and automated refund will be received based on filing of shipping bill. Right? So invoice level reporting is required for export. So requirement is invoice number, invoice date, port code, shipping bill number, shipping bill date, total invoice value, supply type. Supply type will always be your interstate, it will never be intrastate. And next is your export with payment or without payment, right? And then against the taxable value, I will put my taxable value against the rate of tax. Even if I am exporting without payment of tax, I'll provide here my rate of tax and taxable value, right? This is a mandatory requirement which is to be filled even if I am exporting without payment of tax. So it is important for us to understand the HSN number or the SSC number and the rate of tax. Shipping bill detail can be added in table 9A as an amendment. So I made an export on 31st of the month, and while filing my GSTR 1, I do not have detail of shipping bill number, shipping bill date and port code. So need not worry. While filing next GSTR 1 of the next month, or whenever we have the detail of shipping bill, we can amend it in table 9A, right? Friends, next is table 7, that is your B2CS. B2CS means any supply made to taxpayers who are not registered, and for intrastate it is any value of the invoice. Interstate, the invoice value should be less than 2.5 lakh rupees. If it is more than 2.5 lakh rupees, we have seen it is B2C large. So here, see here, drop down, you'll select the POS, place of supply. So then taxable value and supply type and rate wise. So I'll take an example, friends. My total supply for the month is 10 lakh rupees, out of which 8 lakh rupees is for B2C supply, right? Out of that B2C supply, I am registered in West Bengal. So if I am registered in West Bengal, 5 lakh rupees is my 5% transaction, 1 lakh rupees is 12% transaction and 50,000 rupees is my 18% transaction. So what I'll do is place of supply West Bengal, taxable value 5 lakh rupees, rate of tax 5%, place of supply West Bengal, taxable value 12%, your 2 lakh rupees and rate is 12%. So total taxable value and your rate I'll provide for the place of supply West Bengal. Out of that 8 lakh rupees, 50,000 rupees is supplied to Telangana and rate is 18% and all the invoices are below 2.5 lakh rupees. So place of supply will be Telangana, taxable value 50,000 rupees and rate is 5%. So by this way you can fill table 7. See here, on the selection of place of supply, the system will tell intra or inter based on GST, your GST number and the place of supply. See here, example, if the supplier is registered in West Bengal, all the sales for West Bengal rate wise line item, we have to report invoice value is immaterial, whatever be the invoice value. For sale to outside West Bengal, that is Maharashtra, 5% separate, 12% separate. Now nil rated, exempted and non-GST. Though GST is not applicable for nil rated, exempted or non-GST, the reporting is required, right? The reporting is required. And here I don't need to provide separate debit note, credit note detail. Net of debit note, credit note is to be reported. So interest supplies, add debit note, reduce credit note. So net value I have to provide. One is intra-state registered, means intra-state, same state B2B, then same state B2C, then outside state B2B, outside state B2C. Now friends, we'll move to amendment. So remember, what amendment can you make? So any reporting which you have done in table 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 can be amended. Like example 1, for B2B supply, what can I amend? I have provided a wrong GST number in any invoice. I can amend that. I have provided wrong invoice number. I can amend that. I provided wrong tax amount, 5%, 12%, 18%. I can amend that. I provided wrong taxable amount. I can amend that. So amendment can be made in case of B2B. GST number, place of supply like state code, invoice number, invoice date, taxable value, invoice value, tax rate. Any amendment can be made. So don't panic in case there is a wrong reporting in the return. You can go to table 9 and you can amend. In case of B2CL, B2CL means invoice wise reporting was there, but GST number was not there. So in case of B2CL, I can amend place of supply. The state I have provided a wrong state. I can amend invoice number, invoice date, taxable value, invoice value and tax rate. So table 9 is for amendment of your B2B, right? Invoice wise amendment can be made for table 9. Just a second. So now friends, coming to your table 9A means export amendment. So amendment in case of export, what can I amend? So what I can do is I can amend invoice number, invoice date, port code, shipping bill number, shipping bill date I told you. If you have not provided, you can provide here directly, or you can amend also which you have provided wrongly, right? Total invoice value, export with or without payment also you can amend here. So many times it happens is I have selected in GSTR 1 export with payment of tax, and in GSTR 3B I have not paid the tax, right? Because the export was without payment only. You have got a notice from the department that you have not paid tax on export. Please pay the tax along with penalty and interest. So what you can do is you can go to your GSTR 1 and you can amend this. But friends, remember one very important thing. This amendment can only be made. There is a time limit for making an amendment. So for any amendment, the amendment can be made before filing of return for September of next year or filing of annual return, whichever is earlier. So for 1920, amendment can be made by before filing of return for September 20. GSTR 1 for September 20, 3B for September 20, right? Now B2C others also I can amend, but here the amendment will be restricted to your place of supply. So see, amendment can be made in the place of supply, supply type. So based on place of supply, the amendment can be made. Then taxable value and tax rate can be amended. So the taxable value and tax rate can be amended. So basic premise, remember friends, anything can be amended in GST returns. We don't have to panic. If there's a mistake in filing of GST return, if you are hearing that a return filed is final, yes, that return is final. But subsequent return, you can make all the amendments. Next, advances. So friends, remember one thing. 15th November 2017, there was a notification which abolished advance on supply of goods. So if you received advance on supply of goods after 15 November 2017, you don't need to pay GST. But till date, advance is applicable on supply of service. So if you are making any supply of service, advance is applicable. So this table 11 is for advances. One will be receipt of advance, second will be adjustment of advance, third will be amendment of advance received, fourth will be amendment of adjustment made. Simple. So you see here, what is table 11? Advance received. So detail of gross advance received and tax paid. So, right? So tax paid. Second is adjustment. So once I receive the advance and I issue invoice to the customer, but customer will not pay me now. GST advance already I paid. So what I'll do is on issue of invoice, I'll adjust that advance. So see here, advance on issue of advance, what I'll do is your 1 lakh rupees I received advance at 18%, so 18,000 rupees tax I paid to government. Next month I'll issue invoices for 50,000 rupees. So on advance adjustment, what I'll do is 50,000 rupees, 9,000 tax. So balance unadjusted remaining is 50,000, 9%. Already adjusted 50,000, 9%. Right? Next is amendment. So now friends, remember one thing. Amendment means already whatever you have reported, you can amend. So see here, amendment can be made for advance received and advance adjusted also. The amendment can be made in place of supply, like state I can change, tax rate I can change, and adjustment detail also I can change. So one is advance received, you report total advance received, rate against which advance is received. Second is advance you're adjusted to total amount advance adjusted and your tax adjusted against that. Next will be amendment, advance received amendment, advance adjusted amendment can also be made in GSTR 1. Next friends, HSN summary of outward supply. It is important here friends, but I hope you know the law. The law says, and where will you find this law? You go to GSTR 1, right, and you will get this law. Up to 1.5 crore of outward supply, I am not obliged to report HSN number in my invoice. What I'll do is, I'll write the description like books. So 4910 is the code for books. If my turnover is below 1.5 crores on the invoice, I'll just write books. I need not write HSN number. Right? From 1.5 to 5 crores, the reporting is 2 level. So 49. Above 5 crores, reporting in the invoice is 4910, 4 level reporting. And if I am dealing in export and import, then 8 level reporting is mandatory. And for service accounting code, if I am providing any service, 6 level accounting code or service accounting code is mandatory to report. So same way, based on my turnover, I can report here HSN number. So number 1 is HSN number, description. UQC means unique quantity, like numbers, boxes, your kgs, tons. Then total quantity, total value means invoice value, then taxable value and tax, right? So this reporting is required for HSN. Next we'll move to last table, friends, that is your document summary. Last table, that is document summary. What document summary I'll report? All the document summary, 4 things are mandatory: opening number, closing number, right? Total issued during the month, cancelled and net issued. It means opening serial number, right, of the document. So outward supply, outward invoice, opening for this month will be 501. I started, I ended in 1000. So opening 501, ending 1000, total issued 500, cancelled 10 invoices I cancelled because of any mistake or something. So net issued is 490. So this 5 detail is to be reported for outward supply, inward supply received from unregistered person, self invoice, RCM, revised invoice, debit note, credit note, receipt voucher, payment voucher, refund voucher, delivery challan for job work, delivery challan for supply or approval, liquid gas and delivery challan for other than supply. Read rule 51, right? Section 31 to 34. You will know about your details of your legal framework on your tax invoices and documents, right? You might have already had this section on tax invoices and documents also, right? So now once I fill all the details, we'll move on to the process. So click on generate GSTR1 summary. It takes 10 minutes to generate the summary. What is generation of summary? You have filled the details in all the tables, but what happens is system will take some time to populate these details. So once you punch in the details, system will take 10 minutes to key in or populate all the details. So wait for 10 minutes after summary generation, right? Then submit the return and then file through EVC and DSC. One change that is there recently, even GSTR1 can be filed through EVC. So for companies and other entities or LLPs, your DSC was mandatory, but because of this COVID situation, government has relaxed filing of returns through DSC. So even companies and LLPs and other entities for whom DSC was mandatory for filing of return, now they can file return through electronic verification code. A code will come in your mobile and you can file through that code, right? Friends, this was about your GSTR1 table by table detailed summary. Friends, thank you for watching our video, and we hope that you enjoyed this learning series GST with Tax Marvel. And don't forget to share, like and subscribe our videos, and do also tell your friends or colleagues who want to make their career in GST or want to get updated on GST aspects. Thank you, friends. Thank you.